Welcome to the rear end. So we're going to do something relatively easy today. We are going to change the rear end fluid and the transfer case fluid on the GX. I found this nice AMSOIL Extreme Gear 75W-90 that I'm going to use. Lighting's kind of terrible again, but what are we going to do? So the rear, I believe, takes about a little over 3 quarts, and the transfer case 1.5, and then the front diff 1.5. There we go. So make this pretty easy. Just a 24mm socket. Always loosen the fill plug first, because if you drain it and you have no way of filling it, that is a problem. So this is okay. This comes right off. And the drain. Okay, that's tight. Woo! There we go, a karate chop. And this says 130,000 miles on it. It's probably never been changed. So do the white piece of paper challenge test, whatever you want to call it. Let's see how dirty it really is. Yeah, well, it's not that bad. So, some dirt, but it's not black, so that's a bonus. And it smells terrible, of course, because it's the manual transmission type style fluid. 75W-90 or the 80W or whatever usually smells pretty bad. If you want it to drain faster, you can take out the fill plug and it'll equalize or whatever, however that works. And we'll get all those 3 quarts out of there. So I'm gonna go wash my hands, clean this up so it doesn't stink forever. Alright, once she drains out, you can fish your crush washer out of the pan. That fell in there. Of course, if you have a brand new one, that'd be recommended to install too, but typically they'll be fine when you put it back on again. Make sure this fluid doesn't get on anything you care about, because it will permeate the soul of everything and you will never get the smell out. FYI. Okay, there we go. Tight. Now, we've got our bags of fluid, which appear to be the same. You just gotta snip the top here and take off the plastic seal. Okay, these are super nice because you don't have to have a pump, and you can't fit a bottle in here, obviously. So I mean, how awesome is this? You just stick a bag up there and squeeze in all your fluid. So we'll put in 3 quarts and see what happens. It should trickle out of the fill hole when it's full. Number 2 going in. You just shove it up behind the spare tire. You can get these for about 20 bucks a piece. They're on Amazon for like 36. That's too much. But AMSOIL is a good brand. It's fully synthetic, very highly rated. It's not like you're going to be able to feel a difference either. I mean, this is really just to protect the gears and make sure you don't have any problems, but you're not going to like feel a difference in shifting or anything like that. So get the second one in and get a third one in, and it should be about 3.1 quarts right to here. We'll see what happens, and then we'll move on to the transfer case. Front diff's a little bit harder because there's a couple skid plates blocking access, so we'll do the easy ones first. Rear diff and then transfer case. Okay, we got 3 quarts in. It started to kind of trickle out, and I used a little plastic measuring device and verified the fluid is right up to the hole, so we're good here. Tighten this up snugly, and we will move on to the transfer case. So I saw this when I did the transmission fluid change. There's a little bit of fluid here, and there's also like a brown stain of fluid on the bottom of the transfer case. There's O-rings in here that are known to leak and then kind of drip down. I don't see much of that. This could be the output shaft or the input shaft of the transfer case, whatever is attached, whatever seals in between the transmission and the transfer case. So we may have to pull the transfer case and do a seal there. But I did check the fluid the other day, and it's pretty much all the way up. It's not like it's drained out from the leak and there's no leaks on the ground. So we'll have to watch this a little bit more carefully and see what's going on with it. But until then, we were just going to do our drain and fill. Okay, here we go again. It's nice because you can just lay under the truck. You don't have to jack it up, which makes it a little bit easier. So let's see how this stuff looks in here. Do our paper test again. Actually, oops, not too bad on here. They might have actually changed this, because this looks pretty darn good. I hate when they change fluids and they don't document it in anywhere. But even worse is, it smells a little bit different than the rear end, which is kind of weird. It should be the same. Alright, we've got our crush washers, and I'm gonna clean up again so everything doesn't get stinky, and then we'll put in 1.5 quarts. AMSOIL Severe Gear, 75W-90 in the hole. You can use 80W-90, 75W-80, you know, any one of those three are fine. Just refer to the owner's manual and various guides online. But typically 99% of everybody's just going to use this range of fluid if you're over 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But 1.5 quarts in here, so bag and a half, and we should be good. Okay, we got 1.5 in and a little bit of trickle coming out, so we know we are good here. And we will reuse our crush washers like a bad person and snug this up like so. And finally, we will move on to the front diff. Got to remove some of the splash shields underneath, like I said. I'm going to keep an eye on this area in the future to see what exactly is going on. But fluid levels are fine. I did have a little bit of a whine coming out of this thing when it was cold in the morning. Could have been the fluid. We'll see if this fluid changes it. I don't know if it's a common issue or not, but we'll see. Alright, on to the front diff. Alright, this is the final part of the fluid swap. Here we've got the under trays removed. First one is the one you usually do when you have an oil change. This one's held in by some 12mm and a few 10mm bolts. No big deal there. It has these hooks up front so you can hook it into the car so it doesn't fall on you. And then this little plastic trim piece here just attaches to the splash shield or the tray or whatever you want to call it. Back one, I guess, is the hardest thing out of everything we've done so far. Not really hard, because there's just 4 12mm bolts that secure the tray to the underbelly here. And you can see the diff I sprayed with a little bit of PB Blaster. A lot of people talk about these bolts because they're not actual bolts, they're just like socket head bolts or whatever. You gotta use an Allen. So this is a 10mm Allen socket, 3/8 pop loose for me, the drain, and then up top is going to be your fill. Make sure to loosen the fill first, obviously, because if you can't fill it, you can't drain it. If you drain it first, you can't fill it, then you have some problems. So we'll do the paper test again. We'll drain this out, and this should be 1.5 quarts. And that will conclude the fluid change of the GX. Okay, we've got our camera set up. One thing I wanted to mention too was, while we're down here, your CV boots, these can be replaced. Toyota has factory CV boot repair kits. They'll sell you the boot, new clamps, and a bunch of grease. Do not buy parts store axles. I've had more problems with parts store axles than I can speak of. Keep your factory axles. If your boots leak, just replace them. Toyota, Lexus has the boot kits. Please, please, please. They're higher quality, they fit better, the clamps are better, everything about them is better. So we'll deal with this in another episode. They're not cracked, but you're starting to see a little bit of grease squeeze out of there. These are discontinued for the GX, by the way, so you can't get new axles. So it kind of is what it is. Okay. Now the part that everybody is waiting for, including me. I must say I drove it yesterday, and obviously, like I said, you're not going to be able to feel any kind of difference with the new transfer case fluid, rear end fluid. Just peace of mind is there that it's new. And I was mentioning the whine. I don't know if it's like a classic GX470 whine, but just when you're starting to get going, you can kind of hear like a humming, whirring noise from a stop sometimes. I don't know if that's transfer case related or drive shaft or whatever, but that seems to be gone now too. It's just kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. It's not like a bad sounding noise, it's just like a humming or a, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about if you have it. So here we go. Let's see how we're looking on this fluid. I'm predicting it's going to be perfectly fine, but never been changed. I can say that without a doubt. Ooh, this is nasty. Look at that. It's much darker than both the rear end and transfer case for sure. I mean, you can see the streaks in there, the dirt streaks or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it's due for a change, that's for sure. Let me not drop this anywhere, and then I'll throw this away outside immediately, and we will let this drain. So here's your drain bolt, pretty big, and you got that hex in there that could strip out technically. Fill plug, and I know they make these in normal bolts if you'd rather switch to a bolt. I'll try to find those and then put those part numbers in the video, but we'll just finish up draining here. If you want, you could put in like a cheap fluid, 75W-90, you know, drive it for 50 miles or so and then drain it again before putting in your nice synthetic fluid. That's a good way to flush anything else in there out. So kind of up to you. Kind of a bad angle here, but we've got our bag going in. And I'll try to get this up. Oh, this is just so nice. It fits where no jug fits. Yeah, just shove it up there and it'll, you don't even have to squeeze it, just gravity alone will drain itself out of there. So 1.5 quarts, like I said. Yeah, that's what the manual says. So we'll get 1.5 quarts in and then we'll do our measurement and start to button it up. Don't forget to save one of these bags if you ever want to refill it. You can put new fluid in there and just reuse it. Also, before I put the under tray on, if you do any kind of undercoating or protectant or wool wax or whatever the other one is, I forgot. But now would be a good time to spray everything under here just to protect it. We'll do that next after this because I didn't take this off last winter. So spray it down and we'll be ready for any kind of bad weather, salt, water, etc., etc., etc. Okay, 1.5 quarts in, just until it starts dribbling out, and you can put the plug back in. I know I'll get crucified for reusing the crush washers and everything, but that's something I'll have to deal with. If it leaks, I usually have pretty good luck with it not leaking. I mean, they're good for at least 1 or 2 more times to seal. So I will go grab the bolt to plug this and then we'll do the undercoating. Here's the setup, just a cheap spray can off Amazon. Fluid film black. Prefer it to the regular stuff just because it's black. It blends in with everything. So I'll get this hooked up and start spraying. Alrighty. Some of this here. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. Nice. This stuff typically lasts like, this stuff I put on last fall, I want to say. So it's still on there, but obviously that's why you want to put it on every year, because it does kind of just fall off or wash off over time. It's really good stuff. I don't make complaints. It's protected this car and a few others really well. Feel free just to spray everything, doesn't matter. We'll protect everything it touches. It smells kind of good too. Side note. Alright. Well, I'll do the final touches like in here. And that's it, we're done. I'm going to put the trays back on and congratulations, you changed all the fluids on your GX. Front diff, rear diff, and transfer case. Thanks for watching.